Hello, family and friends of First Presbyterian. Tomorrow, Sharon and I will be doing something we've not done in 20 years or more. We'll be going to Camp Greer for our first church camp in all those years. We're really looking forward to it. I think some of you are coming up for the day on Saturday, and I know others are spending the weekend. No matter how long you're there, I'm looking forward to spending time with you. Of course, I'm always looking forward to being with those who will be in church on Sunday. I always have enjoyed worshiping on Sunday, but I'm especially enjoying my time with you at First Presbyterian. And this Sunday, we will share communion together. This coming Sunday, I'm preaching on a particular theme, and actually I struggled with the sermon title a little bit. My first working title was Welcoming the Stranger, and I thought, oh, that's okay. I thought about a couple of others, and then I tried to decide between all are welcome in this place or are all welcome in this place. Do you see the theme? The theme is welcome. To me, it's a very important theme that too many congregations take too lightly. After all, the first welcome visitors receive when they come to church, or the first welcome they do not receive, are likely to determine whether or not they will visit us again. I want you to think about what it was like to visit a church for the first time. Can you remember when you visited First Presbyterian for the first time, and what made you feel welcome? Do you remember walking into the church and you wondering, well, what kind of welcome am I going to receive? Is anyone going to speak to me? Is this a place where I might find friendship? Is this a place I might call home one day? You know, when visitors come, they've given us a wonderful gift. It's the gift of their time. They could be doing other things on a Sunday morning. But most of all, it's the gift of themselves, who they are, who God made them to be. And whether or not they return begins with the kind of welcome they receive. Welcoming, as we know, is very important for the growth of the church. We say we want to grow, and it begins with welcoming. But welcoming is most important of all because it is important to God. God commands us again and again in Scripture to welcome the stranger. It's mentioned many times. You'll hear a few of them on Sunday. Now, one of my favorite passages on welcome is this one. The context is this. Paul is speaking to a church filled with Jews and Gentiles in the church at Rome. As you can imagine, they are not all like-minded because they do not come from a common background. Their religious background is different. Some are pagans, some grew up Jewish. Some are wondering about this new faith. Some are kind of new Christians. Now, they may be tempted to stay in their own groups, call them Jewish Christians, and on the other side of the sanctuary are the Gentile Christians, and they just sit with each other. And they have real differences that could divide them. But Paul says that's not the way of Jesus Christ. So Paul tells them, welcome one another as Christ has welcomed you for the glory of God. I invite you to think about how we might welcome one another as we have been welcomed by Christ. And what does that look like for you? I also like this passage from the book of Hebrews, this particular verse. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without even knowing it. I think that's so true. Over my ministry, I've met quite a few angels who were first strangers to me. I was a little nervous meeting them, but as I got to know them, they were such a blessing to me. That's why I've loved meeting visitors who come to a church, for they have a story. They have questions. Sometimes they have doubts. Sometimes they have a faith that nurtures my soul. They have all been angels to me. They've been messengers of God that have spoken to me in many different ways. And so many of them have become my friends. But we first began as strangers. You know, I wonder, when was the last time you were a stranger, maybe in church or maybe some other group? Think about what it was like. If it was good, what made it a good experience? If it was not so good, why not? I want you to think about that the next time there is a stranger amongst us at First Presbyterian, a visitor. I want you to think about how would you want to be treated. And remember, watch out, that stranger just might be an angel in disguise. This coming Sunday, I will share some of my experiences of being a stranger in several churches and what I learned. I would have given some churches 1-star reviews, and others I would have given 5-star reviews. I'll tell you about them. But what kind of review would you give First Presbyterian Church, and how might we make that better? Now, if you don't know how to review our church, just ask a visitor. They might tell you. I look forward to seeing you Sunday, if not sooner. May the peace of Christ be with you all.